he just sends all their fucking money to Israel and says, go fuck yourself. But then every time he's on TV, he just parrots these talking points that he thinks is going to resonate with him. And that's politics in America.
But not one of the reporters there asked Trump, well, don't you think it's horrible that a grandmother has to work a minimum wage delivery job instead of being taken care of like they take care because her husband has cancer and they're afraid to go bankrupt?
And every time you go into the ballot, it's fucking bad or worse. It's Kamala or it's Trump, or it's Biden or it's Trump. You got, shithead or shithead. Israel has fucking healthcare. You get cancer in Israel, your government's not just going to let you die. But here, people join the military, they go fight this, fight in these foreign wars and come back. And, a lot of them are homeless. They're on the street.
In this video, Dan Bilzerian said something so honest and so brutal that it made everyone go completely silent. This is not about Republican. This is not about Democrat. This is about something that affects every single American. And the worst part, the people in power already know this. They just hope you never figure it out. Watch every second of this.
And one of the problems is, I think a lot of the older generation is still kind of like stuck in this like left-right thing of like, the people on the right are like, oh, the liberals are the problem and they're idiots and whatever. And then the left is like, oh, it's the white supremacists. It's these neo-Nazis on the right. And you have this like very strict divide where the people on the right just want somebody that's like really, really Republican. And so I think he came in there with those talking points of like, oh, I'm really Republican and and we got to get these Democrats and we got to ship out all these foreigners. And, he just says things that is going to resonate with people. He researches what people care about, what's going to resonate with them, and then he just repeats it. And then when it's in office, he just sends all their fucking money to Israel and says, go fuck yourself. But then every time he's on TV, he just parrots these talking points that he thinks is going to resonate with him. And that's politics in America, is some asshole saying exactly what he thinks everybody wants to hear and then doing what's best for him and his donors. And that's the problem with the system. That is the crux of the issue, is you've got people who have no allegiance to the truth, have no allegiance to the country, have no allegiance to their voting base, and just do whatever's best for them. And there's no repercussions.
Think about what Dan just explained here. These politicians are not confused. They are not out of touch. They know exactly what you want to hear. They research it, they rehearse it, and they repeat it until you trust them. Then the moment they get into office, they forget you exist. And here is the most disturbing part. There are absolutely zero consequences for any of it. They do this every single election and walk away richer every single time. This is not a bug in the system. This is how the system was designed to work. So my question to you is this. If both parties keep doing the exact same thing every 4 years, at what point do we stop calling it a democracy? Tell me what you think in the comments.
And every time you go into the ballot, it's fucking bad or worse. It's Kamala or it's Trump, or it's Biden or it's Trump. You got, shithead or shithead. And, and it doesn't seem like anything that you vote for matters because they all do the same thing. They all fund these foreign countries. They all support these foreign wars. They're all run by these Zionist lobbies. And so I think you've got, finally now people are waking up, and I think you've got frustration. The question really is going to come down to, can the older generation figure this out, or can we get the younger generation to actually turn out and vote? Because we got about 800,000 people in that district, and we really only need about 60,000 of them to come out and vote. So if I can mobilize some of the youth that actually already is hip to this problem and understands what's going on politically, then we win. If we can knock on enough doors and show these, the older generation that he's, funding, using your tax dollars to fund a foreign country. And meanwhile, we've got interstates that are, completely dilapidated and haven't even been repaired, but we're funding a foreign war. I think you just hit them with the facts, and I think they'll understand. The question is going to be, can we raise enough money to knock on the doors and to, explain the situation to the older voters? And that's politics. And so I guess we're going to find out.
So we're taught, just like we were taught that Muslims are the enemy of Christians. We're taught that places like China and are horrible, and yet or Saudi Arabia and all these places are horrible. Yet they have things that we can't have. It's like we have the surveillance state here. They're going to turn us onto digital currency. And yet we don't have high-speed rail. We don't have, our cities are crumbling. We have homeless people everywhere. We don't invest in our own country. We can't even get health care. The rest of the Western world, nobody, Trump had that. He had the DoorDash grandma. I don't know if you saw that photo op stunt they did where they had a grandma deliver DoorDash to him, and he was bragging about he took the taxes off tips, which was great. I support that. But not one of the reporters there asked Trump, well, don't you think it's horrible that a grandmother has to work a minimum wage delivery job instead of being taken care of like they take care because her husband has cancer and they're afraid to go bankrupt? Nobody else goes bankrupt when they get cancer in the Western world, but except here in the United States.
I need you to stop and really think about what Jimmy just described. A grandmother is delivering food at minimum wage because her husband has cancer and they are scared of going completely bankrupt. The President of the United States stood next to this woman and used her as a photo opportunity. Every reporter in that room smiled and clapped, but not one single journalist asked the most obvious question. Why is this grandmother still working instead of being taken care of? Every other developed country in the Western world protects its sick citizens. This is not a radical idea. This is just basic human decency. The fact that nobody in that room asked that question tells you exactly who the media is working for. And it is not you.
How would you fix
It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd, and I completely agree with you. You know who would disagree with you is Ben Shapiro. He thinks that we need to raise the age of retirement, that people should be working until they're 80. He's such a retard. I find it funny, too, that all these Jews that are pushing us towards these foreign wars never actually sign up themselves. They never sign on the dotted line. If you look at the religion in this country that is the least represented in the military, it is the Jews. And so they push us disproportionately for these foreign wars and they never sign up. But to answer your question, I think that we should basically eliminate all taxes on anybody that makes less than 50, maybe 75,000 a year, just 0% tax. I think we should completely eliminate the IRS. I think we should do a flat tax. You should do sales tax. I think we also need to start balancing our checkbook correctly. The government's just run so inefficiently. You've got agencies like the ATF that has absolutely no business existing. They serve no purpose. We don't need to regulate tobacco. We don't need to regulate alcohol. It's like, what the fuck are we even talking about here? These are like age-old, agencies that were, maybe valid during the Prohibition or whatever, but we have a bloated government and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you look around, and to your point, you look at these other countries. Israel has fucking healthcare. You get cancer in Israel, your government's not just going to let you die. But here, people join the military, they go fight, they fight in these foreign wars, and come back, and a lot of them are homeless. They're on the street. If they needed a surgery, they couldn't get it. And it's embarrassing, and it's totally unnecessary. You look at how much money it would cost to give, health care, to solve the homeless problem, all these things. And it's like, it's not a lot of money compared to what we are giving in foreign aid, how much money we're spending. I mean, just look at this war, for instance. I mean, how much money we've already spent. And they're trying to raise hundreds of billions of dollars for that. And I think people lose sight of how much money $100 billion is, or hundreds of billions, and what that could do for America. And I think we need to start focusing on our own country before we start shipping a bunch of money out to help foreign countries, especially to fight foreign wars that have no impact whatsoever and don't serve, they never served a threat to the American, people at all. And so, yeah, I agree. I think we need to start focusing within. I think we need to fix our own problems, and, we could start at healthcare.
What Dan Bilzerian just laid out is so simple and so logical that it is almost painful to hear. We have veterans coming back from wars sleeping on the streets. We have families going bankrupt from medical bills. We have highways falling apart across this country. And yet somehow Washington always finds hundreds of billions of dollars for overseas wars that have absolutely nothing to do with protecting the American people. Dan is not asking for anything radical here. He is asking for the most basic thing imaginable. Take care of your own people first. And the fact that this is considered a controversial statement tells you exactly how far gone the system really is. My final question to you is this. If the government can always find money for foreign wars, why can it never find money for the American people? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this video made you think, please like it so more Americans can see this conversation. Subscribe to the channel because there is a lot more truth coming that they do not want you to hear.